Welcome to the world of Shadows of the Celestial Heart, a tale of love, mystery, and destiny written by Priya Mangalam. Before we dive into this captivating journey, a quick reminder: this novel is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to real events, places, or people is purely coincidental. The story you're about to experience is filled with rich characters, magical realms, and a love that transcends time itself. So, sit back, relax, and let yourself be swept away by the celestial mysteries that await you.
Volume 1, Chapter 3, The Path of Shadows. The early morning light filtered through the trees as Liang Feng prepared for the day ahead. The forest had not given up its secrets easily, and Han Jin's disappearance only deepened the mystery. Liang Feng's thoughts were consumed by the rogue cultivator and the enigmatic connection that seemed to bind them together. The previous night's confrontation had been a turning point. Although Han Jin had vanished, his presence had left an indelible mark on Liang Feng. The unexpected warmth of his touch and the provocative words spoken during their battle haunted Liang Feng's thoughts. It was a feeling he had never experienced before, and it unsettled him. The Yuelan sect strategy meeting was set for late morning. Liang Feng arrived early, his mind racing through the details of the mission. The sect elders had demanded a report on the previous night's events, and Liang Feng was prepared to provide it. However, he also knew that Su Wei would be present, and their strained interactions were a source of discomfort. In the Grand Hall, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. The elders gathered around a large table covered in maps and scrolls, their faces lined with concern and determination. Liang Feng took his place at the table, the weight of his responsibility pressing heavily on him. Elder Zhao addressed the assembly with a grave tone. "Liang Feng, we need a full account of last night's engagement with Han Jin. What can you tell us?" Liang Feng cleared his throat, steadying his voice. "We managed to lure Han Jin out, but he escaped before we could apprehend him. His dark arts are more formidable than anticipated, and his ability to manipulate shadows is beyond our initial estimates." Elder Zhao's eyes narrowed. "And what of his intentions? Did he reveal any further information about his motives or plans?" Liang Feng hesitated, reflecting on Han Jin's cryptic comments. He spoke of seeing through our teachings and hinted at a deeper understanding of the world. It's unclear what he meant, but he seemed to suggest that there is more at play than we realize. The elders exchanged glances, clearly troubled. Su Wei, who had been quiet throughout the meeting, finally spoke. "It's possible that Han Jin is trying to mislead us. His words might be a diversion." Liang Feng's gaze met Su Wei's, and he sensed a flicker of resentment in his rival's eyes. "Or he might be revealing a truth we're unwilling to see." Elder Zhao raised a hand to silence the discussion. "Regardless of his motives, Han Jin is a threat. We need to reassess our strategy. Liang Feng, I want you to lead a small team to investigate any recent disturbances in the Jin province. There may be clues about Han Jin's whereabouts or intentions." Liang Feng nodded, accepting the task with a sense of resolve. As the meeting concluded, he could feel Su Wei's eyes on him, a mix of frustration and concern evident in his expression. Later that day, Liang Feng assembled his team, a select group of cultivators known for their skills and reliability. They were briefed on the mission, to investigate reports of unusual activity in the Jin province, a region rumored to be a stronghold of dark arts. As they set out, the journey to the Jin province was marked by an uneasy silence. Liang Feng's thoughts were preoccupied with the confrontation with Han Jin and the implications of his cryptic words. The forest around them was dense and foreboding, each shadow a potential hiding place for the rogue cultivator. The team reached the outskirts of a small village known for its recent disturbances. The village was eerily quiet, its inhabitants wary and tense. Liang Feng and his team began their investigation, speaking with villagers and searching for any signs of Han Jin's presence. One villager, an elderly woman, approached Liang Feng with a trembling voice. "You're here about the strange happenings, aren't you? There have been sightings of a dark figure, a man who moves like a shadow." Liang Feng's heart quickened. "Tell me more. What did you see?" The woman's eyes darted nervously around. It was just glimpses, really. A man with dark robes and eyes that seemed to glow. He appears and disappears without warning. People say he has dark magic, and some believe he's searching for something. Liang Feng's mind raced. Could Han Jin be searching for a powerful artifact or a source of dark energy? The thought was unsettling. Did he speak to anyone? Did he mention any specific locations or items? The woman shook her head. No, he was always shrouded in darkness. The few who saw him say he seemed to be searching for something, or someone. Liang Feng thanked her and continued his investigation. As night fell, the team set up camp on the outskirts of the village. The tension was palpable, and Liang Feng's thoughts were consumed by the possibility that Han Jin might be closer than they realized. In the darkness of the forest, Liang Feng found it difficult to sleep. His thoughts were plagued by Han Jin's presence and the strange emotions that had arisen from their encounter. The warmth of Han Jin's touch and the intensity of his gaze were more than just distractions, they were a challenge to everything Liang Feng believed. As he walked alone near the camp, his thoughts were interrupted by a sudden movement in the shadows. Liang Feng's instincts kicked in, and he drew his sword, prepared for an attack. To his surprise, Su Wei emerged from the darkness, his expression tense. Liang Feng, Su Wei said, his voice low, I need to talk to you. Liang Feng lowered his sword, though his wariness remained. What's wrong? Su Wei's eyes were filled with frustration. You've been preoccupied ever since the encounter with Han Jin. I'm concerned that it's affecting your judgment. Liang Feng's gaze hardened. I'm focused on the mission. My feelings have nothing to do with it. Su Wei's expression was a mix of jealousy and concern. It's not just about the mission. I've noticed how Han Jin seems to have gotten under your skin. It's not like you to let personal matters interfere. Liang Feng's heart raced, the underlying tension between them coming to a head. You don't understand what it's like. Han Jin, he's different. He challenges everything I know. Su Wei's eyes flashed with hurt. And what about us? What about our friendship? Or is it that you've become so enamored with Han Jin that you've forgotten everything else? Liang Feng was taken aback by Su Wei's words. He could see the pain in his friend's eyes, and it made him realize how deeply his preoccupation with Han Jin had affected those around him. I didn't mean to, Su Wei cut him off. I'm not asking for explanations. Just remember that you're not alone in this. We all have a stake in this mission. The tension between them was palpable, and Liang Feng knew that the strain on their friendship was only adding to his inner turmoil. As Su Wei walked away, Liang Feng was left to grapple with his emotions and the ever-present shadow of Han Jin. The next morning, Liang Feng and his team continued their investigation. The villagers' reports of strange occurrences led them to an ancient ruin on the outskirts of the forest. The ruin was rumored to be a place of dark rituals and hidden secrets. As they explored the crumbling structure, Liang Feng's senses were on high alert. The air was thick with an ominous energy, and the shadows seemed to move with a life of their own. The team carefully examined the area, searching for any clues that might lead them to Han Jin. In the deepest chamber of the ruin, they found an inscription carved into the stone. Liang Feng studied it, his brow furrowed in concentration. The inscription was in an ancient language, and though he couldn't fully decipher it, he recognized symbols associated with dark arts. This may be related to Han Jin's activities, Liang Feng said to his team. We need to analyze this further. The discovery only deepened the mystery. Liang Feng's mind was torn between the urgency of the mission and the lingering presence of Han Jin in his thoughts. The rogue cultivator's ability to unsettle him was both a challenge and a source of fascination. As night fell, the team set up camp near the ruin. Liang Feng's thoughts were consumed by the possibility that Han Jin was closer than they realized. The rogue cultivator's words and actions had created a whirlwind of emotions within him, and the investigation had only intensified his feelings. In the solitude of the night, Liang Feng found himself reflecting on his encounter with Han Jin. The warmth of Han Jin's touch and the intensity of his gaze were a constant reminder of the emotional conflict he was experiencing. The rogue cultivator had managed to break through Liang Feng's carefully constructed defenses, and the result was a tangled web of emotions and desire. As Liang Feng walked alone near the camp, he was interrupted by a sudden movement in the shadows. He tensed, drawing his sword in preparation for an attack. To his surprise, Han Jin emerged from the darkness, his presence both unsettling and captivating. "Still searching for me?" Han Jin's voice was a low, teasing murmur. Liang Feng's heart raced as he faced the rogue cultivator. "What are you doing here?" Han Jin's eyes gleamed with mischief. "I couldn't resist seeing you again. You seem so conflicted." Liang Feng's grip on his sword tightened.
Thank you for joining me on this magical journey through Shadows of the Celestial Heart. If you've enjoyed the story so far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more chapters, updates, and exclusive content. Remember, the story isn't over yet. The shadows of the Celestial Heart are just beginning to unfold. Stay tuned for more enchanting twists, and until next time, let your heart follow the stars.